Well, that was a lot of nothing, but were you expecting more than nothing?
I think we anticipated that the motion to dismiss would be argued at a different date because he would need more time because it was a mega motion. So there was a lot.
And they haven't responded yet. And
they've not responded yet, so they have to respond, by 30 days, and then we're going to argue it on December 5th, it sounds like. So, but, I think the big news out of today was that what we knew was coming, that Robert Cosgrove has tapped out of the Gattani indictments, so...
And you guys didn't object to that, so let me ask you this. Let's talk reality here. In 30 days, if they haven't appointed some magical prosecutor, will the court do anything?
This case is on life support. There's no prosecutor. There is literally no prosecutor on the 2024 case. One was removed by the court for making himself a witness. Two have had to withdraw for various reasons. The alleged victim in that case is suing anybody and everybody in connection with that case. Who's taking that case? Would you?
I will not take that case.
So, look, someone has to show up, but I think also the court recognizes that because of the legal maneuvering, that the district attorney doesn't even have the ability to appoint someone because they're apparently going to get sued as well by this individual. So it's a fiasco.
So Judge Doolin made it sound like I'm laying down the law here. 30 days, got to be somebody appointed. Do we really think something would come of it if nothing happens, if nobody's appointed?
Well, something has to happen. If either dismiss or prosecute, one of the two. We have a right to discovery that's still outstanding, and that shouldn't stop because they don't have their house in order. So our position is get your house in order, and if you can't, then do the right thing and dismiss. End it.
And certainly the defense is prejudiced by that. Let's talk about the most recent case where you're waiting for some discovery that now they say will be here by the December 5th latest date. What are you expecting to get? This relates to what I call the pizza case.
The window intimidation. Yeah. So we're just waiting on grand jury documents. We haven't got them yet, so we don't know what was said in there. And of course, we've seen in the other case that the grand jury is very important. That happens behind closed doors, and if there's shenanigans, we need to be able to identify them and review what happened in there and how I was indicted for witness intimidation for doing T-Rex arms on a Tuesday night.
But we also want to know on that, the whole case revolves around an apparent illegal wiretap out on the street. So what are they going to do about that? Are they going to charge him? Are they going to give him a break?
Was that rhetorical? Will they charge him?
Whoever's in charge of the property.
Let's be clear about that. We asked for an investigation into that, and initially the Canton Police Commissioner recused herself from consideration of that and kicked it over to the DA, and we filed a notice with the DA to alert them to this, and they simply haven't responded. So, we'll have to wait and see with all of that. But
let me ask about the guts of the motion. We haven't heard the reply yet, or the response, and then I assume you guys will have a reply. I think the strongest part of it is the misrepresentation to the grand jury, but there's a lot in there. So is that the key to you, or do you see something more important in the motion that supports getting rid of these charges?
Well, we see a lot of problems in the grand jury, disclosing evidence, relationships with people with very checkered histories that they rely on, destruction of evidence, non-disclosure of evidence, false and misleading testimony. I mean, we could go on and on if you have an hour what the problems are. But, our view is that considered cumulatively, all of this is egregious governmental misconduct, and it all ought to be dismissed. You can't have prosecutors, police officers, private civilians working at the behest or with police officers doing these kinds of things. So I wouldn't isolate it and say this is stronger than that. The whole mosaic is awful and needs to be dismissed.
What do you anticipate their response to be?
That's for them to decide. I don't know.
You're a good attorney. You always have to anticipate.
I have no idea how they're going to respond to this. In our view, a lot of this misconduct is indefensible. So, but that's for them to decide. I don't want to speak for them.
We're not giving them any ideas.
Yeah.
They can come up with their own nonsense.
They're boxed in.
Yeah.
Mark boxed them in really well. They're boxed in, and, we're very optimistic about it. As we are, they're dropping like flies. Mello's gone, Novak's gone. There's more to come on Mello with respect to the Reed witness case. That's still out there to disqualify him there. So there's much more to come. We moved the needle today, kind of mostly by agreement. again, we're stalled because the government can't get its house in order with the prosecutors. So, we're gonna see where that goes.
Every time I come to one of these hearings, I walk out the same way thinking, what the hell are they doing and why? What's the motivation?
You have to ask them.
I knew you were going to say that. You might have something.
I mean, I'm coming up on the 2-year anniversary of getting arrested at the bus stop, and I don't feel like we've made much progress. They've done anything. Every time we come here, like you said, we just kind of kick the can down the road, and maybe next time we'll talk about something important and discovery. And it's I don't know what their plan here is, but I think it's just to keep me out on bail and keep me on my best behavior, or I don't even know if they have a plan.
The problem is when they started this case, the idea was to stifle speech as it relates to another well-known case, obviously. That case is over. It didn't work out for them, and they're still doing this, and they're kind of stuck with that. As we learned earlier this week, many of the witnesses who presumably are going to testify at a trial here are apparently all about to be sued for civil rights and conspiracy violations. That's another case, other people making those decisions. But you'd like to think at some point in time that you see what happens. We have no prosecutor on one of these indictments. The whole thing is just literally on life support. This other case is kicking around. It's failing. All of this is failing. And you'd like to think at some point that they just reevaluate special prosecutor after special prosecutor after special prosecutor. That appears to be the way the sausage is made in this county. But at some point in some time, it's got to go. It's got to go. The Karen Reed case is over.
They lost.
I heard that.
To see the writing on the wall with this case, it was only brought to keep Aidan quiet, and the thing is over. It's circling the drain, and we want this case has got to go too.
Would the state move it to another county just to keep get a clean?
I've never seen that happen where the state would move a case. I don't think it's going to happen.
What would that tell you if a prosecutor is afraid that they can't win in their home court, that they want to go someplace else? If that's even part of the thought process, then you should just dismiss the case.
Maybe if they move it to North Korea.
That's a good one. I like that.
So you brought up a good point. Now Morrissey's in the crosshairs in terms of his ability, his whole office's ability. So what is the option if the court decides that the Morrissey office can't handle this?
Who the hell knows? The Attorney General, who has already, as you've seen in the motion again and again, has refused to get involved. Why would anyone in private practice choose to get involved in this? Look what happens. You may get sued. Look, I don't know what they're going to do. It would be foolish to even predict. It seems to me the only right thing to do is dismiss all of it.
Well, they make a lot of taxpayer money, so that's their carrot. So who knows if someone is out there, the fourth or fifth person across all these cases, are they going to make $250,000 too?
Yeah, I mean, they paid Robert Novak $20,000 to work one day. They paid Ken Mello at least $80,000 to do, I don't know what he did, but they just literally took the money and ran. I mean, the taxpayers are the real victims here.
When I sit there and I see all of that money going out the door, it's frightening.
That's the scandal, though, right? I mean, you have 3 special prosecutors that are now gone from this case. What does that mean? They're not DA salary. That's extra taxpayer money. And one of them got himself kicked off for being a witness. Another one bailed the day after the motion was filed, who worked with Mello. And Mr. Cosgrove, understandably, had to leave because he's being sued. But you paid for this. It's your tax money that a year and a half later has a case without a prosecutor, and all that extra money went into it. You saw it in Karen's case with all the special prosecutor fees. It's happening here, and maybe the question to ask is, why do they keep doing it? Why does it keep happening here? What's the problem in this county, and why there is such a crisis of confidence in law enforcement here? This shouldn't be happening again and again and again. It becomes a giant fiasco.
That's why all these people are here. I mean, that's
right. That's what I was going to say. That's where you guys come in. The media comes in, and the public comes in. That's why you guys are here. Because this is outrageous and it needs to stop. And eventually you get to the ballot box, but you guys are all free to speak out now, because Aidan's not going to be the scapegoat here. Aidan's not going to be the martyr. We're going to get him out of this, and nobody should have to be in that position.